Pre-show routines never really existed because I always felt invincible on stage. I was being treated for leukemia when I did my first ever tour, which was with Jimmy Barnes and Diesel, so I was used to feeling the physical and emotional turbulence before a performance, but in my head back then, the stage was refuge, and I knew as soon as I got up there, I'd be on top of the world. The music and crowd used to carry me way above my offstage challenges. But now, bouncing back from burning out with chronic fatigue, anxiety, and everything related to it, the time before stage directly affects time on stage. And the confidence I used to have was probably more youthful and green confidence rather than something that I consciously cultivated, which is what I'm trying to do now. So currently I'm experimenting with what I can do before stage to help get me in the zone. This weekend I tried something different. I knew from previous gigs that sitting still and meditating puts me in a state of conflict because there's all these electric and excitable sensations running through my body because the body is in a state of transition. It's getting ready to be bigger than the room itself because it's about to perform. So trying to sit still with those sensations reminds me a little too much of having anxiety attacks on stage because those sensations are just so similar and it triggers bad memories if I sit with them for too long. Now, I know that a part of building mental resilience is knowing how to stay grounded and focused in states of discomfort. And that's because life gets pretty bloody small if you're constantly running from the things that trigger uncomfortable feelings, particularly when the nature of growth itself involves being pushed out of your comfort zone. But when you're learning, sometimes it's good to just make it a bit easier on yourself. So recently I've been playing around with walking meditation. There are just a few extra distractions floating around to keep me focused on the present, things that I can see, people, sounds, smells, as opposed to just focusing on the breath and silence, which can get quite tricky when you're, wrestling with intense feelings that are triggered by fear and bad memories. The idea is not to eliminate fear because if you wrestle with it, you're focused on it, it'll just get stronger. The idea is to consistently bring your attention back to whatever it is you choose. The present moment by default, or if you're into visualizing, it's how you wish to feel on stage. Breaking up those moments of fear will stop it from compounding. Fear is going to play all sorts of scary mini movies in the head because it's trying to protect you, most of the time from what will never eventuate. So it's about preventing it from overstepping, preventing yourself from getting swept up in those stories. Now, I've found on a physical level, walking with those crazy sensations actually turns them into fuel. I feel more in control and alive, and those feelings inspire more positive thoughts and visions, which then inspire more empowering feelings, and that's a cycle and relationship between the mind and the body. So by the time I got to the stage, I was a lot more anchored to the moment, which is the best place to play music from. The fears were still there, but they didn't control me. And each time I'd feel a spike, whether I was caught up in a bad memory or identified with a scary thought, I'd notice it, I'd accept it, and I'd actually lean into it. The experience is way different attacking your fears rather than running from them. And then I'd regain focus on reality, which is, whatever is actually happening right now or whatever my intentions for performing were. And the rest is just faith. Like, those final steps are way easy to take when you have faith. There's just no point in believing that the unknown is going to be bad, particularly if you have no control over what's going to happen. All you can do is your best.